The Trap Witch here from Atlanta, Georgia, coming to bring you a new moon in Aquarius reading for February 4th, 2019. For those of you who don't know me, I am the Trap Witch on Instagram, TheTrapwitch. I am an intuitive healer, intercessory. I do spiritual counseling, emotional healing, mental clarity work, shadow work specifically. I help people dig deep down to find their power by acting as someone who can stand in the gap to help them get into tune with their skills and their tools that they have that sometimes they need help getting acquainted with in order to move forward in this thing that we call life. Um, I specify more so in shadow work. I love working with the blockages, helping people pull out parts of themselves that they never knew that were in there. We just got to get to the bottom of it, figure out why we're blocked sometimes. And then when we figure out when we're blocked and how we're blocked, why we're blocked, we can move those things to the side and we can get to our blessings, because who don't like that? Sun in Aquarius. I am a sun sign Aquarius. My birthday will be next week, February 7th. So I'm looking forward to this new moon. With that being said, if any of you feel compelled to make a donation after watching this reading, you can Cashapp me at thetrapwitch or Venmo me at thetrapwitch. I am taking birthday donations all month long for some of the work that I do, even if you don't have to book a session right now. With that being said, for those of you who have been along with me for a really long time, I will be taking a break in the next about 3 months as I do a very large initiation. I'm a practitioner of Lukumi Santeria, and I will be entering my Yabarahe, my initiation to become a high priestess of Oshun, dedicating myself to my lifelong walk with Ochun and becoming a practitioner that I can serve my community in more than just one way. So any of those donations from this reading will greatly help as I'm taking a small time off, and I won't be able to be working as much as I can. So that will be greatly appreciated. With that being said, Aquarius season. I, as an Aquarius, Aquarius we can be very rebellious. We can be very detached at times. We can be very like, but you don't get me, but I get me. I've always been someone who, air is like very, sometimes can come off very aloof, and a lot of us have big dreams, big ideas, and sometimes people don't understand us, but we understand it. And I think that with being challenged with the you can't do it, we take that challenge and we take it as a how would I say, we take that as an invite to prove you wrong. I will say that Aquarius, I do find that we are kind of an underdog of the zodiac, especially being that they say that we are some of the least common. We are an enigma. We are a mystery. When you think you have us figured out, and then we're like, and then what? So, I love my Aquarius sun. A lot of people misconstrue me for my rising, which is Leo, but there are some really great Aquariuses out there. We had Rosa Parks, we had Bob Marley, we have people like Jim Carrey, who are great spiritual conscious people now, but also we vary to people like Paris Hilton and Zsa Zsa Gabor, so we can go from the deep intellectual to the socialite. I do think we have a very much a duality about us that, like I said, when people think they have us figured out, they don't. There's so many layers, like the onion. You peel us away, and then you continue to find more. Aquarius, very much a sign of intellect. We can spend a lot of time in our head. Sometimes we connect thoughts together in ways that people say, well, you're so random. How do you connect this from that as you're having a conversation? And it's like, there's just little light bulbs going off, and we're just like, but anyway, I'm not going to rant on too much. What I'm going to do today, for those of you who are joining me, I'm going to encourage you to get you a notebook, because as I'm reading, we're going to see what Spirit has to say about the energy that's coming in and how we can use it. Aquarius, we are the humanitarian. So we tend to at times have a hard time, not putting ourselves first over, wanting to understand people and work with people and things of that nature. So let's see, what Spirit has to say about how we should maximize this energy, things that we can be knowing going into the new moon. I'm going to be reading from the Law of Attraction Tarot, and I'll be complementing probably the clarity cards with just a Dorian Virtue Archangel deck, and maybe at the end I'll pull a final card from like the Trust Your Vibes deck. We're just going to free flow and go along with the flow. For those of you who've been watching me for a while, I do have space still available, first come, first serve, before I take my break. If you've been procrastinating, if you've been hovering, I say this a million times, just go ahead and book. I can usually fit people in very well. I'm very good with my schedule. So we can go ahead and plant some seeds, get you, started. Better late than never, especially as we're, going into the second month of the year. And 2019 is going to be a really hard year. The only way that it's going to become easier is if we get better and just do the fucking work. So with that being said, if you want to book a session with me, www.thetrapwitch.com. All rates, everything are on there. I combine my sessions, intuitive healing. If you need advice on anything, love, career, friends, family, healing your inner child, getting over childhood wounds, all sorts of things just to help you get better. So let's go ahead, get you a notebook, get you a pen, take notes. If any of you feel compelled to share anything that you've taken in from this reading with me, tag me on Instagram, share with your friends, whatever have you. We're just here to take this walk, take this journey together, and it's always great having other people to go alongside of us as we are going forth on the path. So make yourself comfortable and let's enjoy this little ride, shall we? Right. Spirit, we call you in on behalf of the collective, and we ask for the highest good of all those involved with harm to none. We ask for clarity. We ask for clear perception. I ask Alegua to open the roads to precise, clear messages. At this time, what is the subconsciously below the surface, beyond the veil, that can facilitate in the collective's highest good? Allow them to overcome barriers and obstacles. Give them insight on anything that might be hindering them emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or physically, that they can now work through by having discernment to make the best decisions. Help us to please realign or align with all the good things in life that are due to us. Peace of mind, prosperity, happiness, love, good health, abundance, prosperity of all sorts, and any other things that are of benevolence that are due to us. We call in my spirit guides, my Egun, my ancestors, my ascended masters, archangels, to assist in this reading now, especially with the energy, the current energy we are moving into. New Moon in Aquarius, February 4th, 2019. What is it that we need to know? Where should we put our attention? Where should we put our intentions to be of maximum execution of our highest good, firstly to ourselves, and then secondly for the benefit of others? Ashe. All right, let's go right there, shall we? Here we go. First card. Man who is riding a giant cigarette. Okay? He's not looking like he's having a great time. He's barely hanging on there. The clarity card for that relationship harmony. Where we go. Archangel Raguel. We angels are opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are being resolved now. Cigarettes, right? When we think about cigarettes, we think about something that people socialize sometimes to do, or people develop a relationship with smoking, right? Sometimes people can start smoking off socially, just lightly, for pleasure. Then it becomes an addiction. Then it becomes something that can be a part of an unhealthy lifestyle, and then something that begins to create health problems. Let's talk about relationships in regards to that. Sometimes we can pick up relationships, right? Firstly, we can pick them up. Because what are relationships good for? They're good for pleasure. People enjoy having relations, people that they can relate to, people that they can hold space with, people that they can um, feel a sense of companionship, company, right? But sometimes companionship, company, relationships come at a cost, okay? They come at a cost. And a lot of times, right, when we're thinking about the cigarette, right, we're thinking about something that can create an unhealthy addiction. And many of us we can begin to be conflicted, argue with ourselves, especially when it comes to our relationships, right? How many of us argue with ourselves about the relationship with ourselves, argue with ourselves with the relationship we have with other people, whether it be family, friends, lovers, business, whatever have you. Sometimes we can have unhealthy codependencies where we're wanting to stay in things because we're hoping for the pleasure or seeking the pleasure, but we don't realize that it's at the cost of affecting our health. Okay? How many of us are searching for ideal relationships, but how many of us stay in them at a cost? Okay? So many people, right? We talk about people who have been smokers for years, and that long relationship with smoking sometimes compromises them. Okay? This is really not about smoking. This is about addiction and codependency, right? Fulfilling something that's a stimulant. A lot of times, right, we use our relationships with other people as stimulants, right? So many times, right, I'm a person who I love my alone time. I can stimulate myself. But sometimes when it comes to relationships, we we want to be around people because they stimulate us, right? And let's look up the word stimulate. 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 Raise levels of psychological or nervous activity in the body or any biological system. Encourage interest or activity. Encourage development of or an increased activity in state of process, right? But let's ask ourselves this. The stimulants, right? How many of us stay in relationships with other people, right? That in the end, they're raising our blood pressure, raising our toxicity, raising everything that is actually bad for us instead of good. That's something that at times we can sit there and we can say, oh my God, I really want to stay in this. I enjoy this person to a certain extent, or I want this person. And like I said, it doesn't have to be just love. This can be even with our parents, right? We are addicted to the stimulation of them being present in our life, and we want to have the pleasure of that, but sometimes at what cost to your health? Because a lot of us will spend time looking for the ideal, okay? Like I said, 10 of Cups, second card, 10 of Cups in this deck. We're dreaming of this stability of a life when it comes to home life especially, right? So again, we have an idea, we have an ideal, right? She's like so happy. She's, just looking up in the healthy lifestyle. Archangel Raphael, eat a healthful diet, get adequate sleep, and exercise regularly for optimal health. It's funny because the first card, right, with the man on the cigarette conflicts with the card across from healthy lifestyle. Then we have relationship harmony across from the woman dreaming of the home life, the stability life, home, family, right, sense of unity. What are we willing to do to create our ideal? Because sometimes that is opening our minds, that sometimes we are going to make sure that we don't compromise our health just to maintain having people in our life. Okay? We cannot compromise our health just to say we have people in our life. Our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, our physical health, none of that needs to be compromised in order to say that we have people in our life. Not at all. Let's pull a clarity from another deck on top of these two. I want to get a little bit more in depth in them. Aura cleanse. Call on your angels. With the aura cleanse coming up, right? Let's think about this. We're going with the cigarette. Say you're not a smoker and your best friend is a smoker. And every time you go around your friend, smelling real good, you just bathe, you smelling real fresh, you smelling just, oh, you feeling good, you just came from the gym, you just like, oh yes, you eating right. And then you go to your friend and your friend is just like cigarettes after cigarettes after cigarettes. And by the time you leave your friend, you smell like nothing but cigarette smoke. Right? That's just an example. Have you ever had that triggered feeling of feeling like, damn, I didn't even smoke, but I smell. I smell like someone who has. And it gives you this feeling like, it's not mine. That's not me. That doesn't belong to me. Yet still you pick up on the stench. You pick up on the... We have to be careful that in life we don't pick up unhealthy habits, addictions, codependencies, especially from our relationships, just to say that we have people in our life. And I'm not saying you have to break up with your friend because they're a smoker, but you have to be mindful, okay, that if you have ideals for your life, that you are not compromising your health and the things that make you feel good and the things that make you feel fulfilled and the things that keep you at a peace of mind just so that you can have these people in your life. Okay? What does the word ideal mean? Satisfying one's conception of what is perfect, most suitable. Okay? So even when the word suitable comes up, there is a saying that I always used to say, some people just fit us better than others. Say you go to the store and you purchase a suit, okay? And you didn't try it on. I don't know who would go buy a suit without trying it on. But you get home and you realize that the pants come up way too far, the sleeves are way too long, the cut of the crotch is all off, the collar's off. Are you going to rip apart that suit and try to make it a brand new suit? Or are you going to take that shit back and get something that fits you better? There's a difference between having to slightly alter and having to completely rip something apart simply because it doesn't fit. Right now, maybe we are being asked what fits in our life when it comes to our relationships. We can be arguing with ourselves. We can be at conflict with ourselves sometimes, just trying to keep things that are not in alignment and that we can't slightly alter to make sure that it can fit. Because we have to make sure that we don't alter what our ideals are simply because another might not fit in that. Sometimes we just have to make that sacrifice. The life you want is going to come at a price, and it's often giving up our addictions. It's often giving up our codependencies. It's often giving up the things that we might feel like at the end of the day, they're going to cause us more damage than they are going to cause us more health. Health is your wealth, okay? If we have no health in life, we have nothing. So when we think about our relationships, they have to be relatable. They have to be relatable. The word relationship, right? Ship, second part, relation first. I read something that said, in order for relationships to carry you forward, they have to be relatable. Okay? So there's times where we just are going to outgrow our relationships that maybe once they brought us pleasure, right? Like, think about someone who's trying to break up with their addictions with cigarette. I'm quite sure smoking a pack a day brought a lot of people some sort of pleasure at a certain time. But as their needs, as their desires for their self move forward, maybe it's their health, maybe it's that, they don't like the way that it makes them feel anymore. They slowly have to wean those things out of their life because they have to look at their life in the bigger picture. Okay? The pieces of the puzzle. Again, the sense of fitting. What fits? What doesn't? And you have to have clairvoyance about that. I'm helping your spiritual sight to awaken fully so you can clearly see heavenly love, Raziel, Archangel Raziel. Right now, we are being really asked to look at where are we going in this 10 of Cups, in this life that we are building, in our security, in our stability, and especially the type of soul family, and just mainly, I want to say soul family, okay? Because I know a lot of people that go through problems with family. And sometimes, whether you're walking away permanently or you're putting it on hold temporarily for a season, you have to ask, what aligns with my soul? What aligns with my spirit? What fits? And if you see that someone in your life who's making your aura dusty, who's making your life a little hard, causing you to be argumentative with yourself, conflicted with yourself, and only maybe keeping those people in your life because you're addicted to people pleasing. Because Aquarius, we're really good at people pleasing sometimes. It's a bad trait of ours. What pleases you this season? Because the ideal life that you're trying to create, this feminine energy, right? What are you willing to do? What action are you willing to take in order to make that come to fruition? Okay? Are you really willing to fight for that? You have to see where you want yourself now, whether it be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. If you are talking to someone, whether, someone who, you're feeling, ask them what their plans are. Because if their plans, you can't see yourself in their plans and they can't see them in your plans, what sense does it make trying to make the puzzle pieces fit? What sense does it make arguing with yourself and staying conflicted? Trying to allow yourself to give up something, right? Because that healthy lifestyle, if you have to give up something that's good for you in order to try and force another to fit in your life, it's just not going to work right now. This reading is not going to be that long because they're just being really forward. Last card. The man with the sword, the professional. We got this. There's two of these cards that we got in a reading, I want to say last month. Some of these relationships, I don't think you have to fight for this season, especially the ones that are not good for you. Because you have to ask yourself, how are they stimulating you? Are they stimulating you just because you're addicted to them, or they're actually good for you? Right? Clear your space. Get rid of clutter, clear the energy around you, and use feng shui. We're going to pull 2 clarity cards on top of this. Stay in your own skin. Get a new story. Do not compromise what you want for yourself in your life just because you are addicted to keeping people in your life. I can just hear it. It's like, imagine saying to someone, this is what I want. And they're like, well, that just doesn't. It's okay that other people don't want the same things as you. But stop telling yourself, okay, to get the news story, stop telling yourself that you have to fight for something that you should clear out simply because you're fighting to keep it written in your story. Right now, you are idealizing what your life is going to look like. That 10 of Cups, that big stability, security, happiness, home, marriage, soul, family, union, all those things that make you feel so fulfilled. Anything that does not fit in that story right now and doesn't see itself aligning into that bigger picture, clear it out. I know that some of you might have met someone and you just like, oh, like, yes, like, I'm just, when it comes to the type of life, whether it's, you say you want kids and they don't want kids, clear them out. If you're pursuing a type of career and they don't approve of it, clear them out. Right now, there is no time to pick up on conflict and things that are bad for you, that are going to make you just like, as you're trying to create this life. There is no reason, right, why this season you should be willing to compromise what it is that's going to make you healthy, what's going to make you happy, what's going to make you flourish. Okay? Let's open up to Joel. Some people don't really want to be helped. They don't want to change. They like the attention their perpetual dilemmas bring them. Sometimes the best thing you can do for somebody like that is to not help them. Consider a small child. If every time that child throws a fit, you come running over and give him exactly what he wants, he will continue the pattern. The child knows what he has to do to get his way, and he will try to use that to control you. But if the child yells and screams and you don't give in, you just ignore it or reprimand him for his behavior, it won't be long before he realizes that throwing a fit isn't working. The same principle is true for adults. As long as you allow somebody to pressure you into doing what he or she wants, he or she will continue to do it. But friend, life is too short to go through it being controlled and manipulated by people who refuse to make good choices on their own. Please understand, you are not responsible for everybody else's happiness. You are responsible for your own happiness. If people are controlling you, it's not their fault, it's your fault. You must learn to set some boundaries. Quit allowing them to call you at all hours of the day and night to dump their problems on you. Quit catering to them and giving in to every time they throw a fit. Quit lending them money every time they make poor choices. Let them take responsibility for their actions. You needn't be harsh or uncaring, but sometimes we can be so good-hearted and generous that we allow people to control us. At some point, We have to realize that we are not helping that person anymore. Beyond that, now they are hurting us. Many people go around all upset, frustrated, and discouraged because they've made the mistake of taking on false sense of responsibility for somebody close to them who won't do what is right. They carry a heavy load trying to fix the person or trying to keep someone else happy. You can be free from all of that if you will just give those people to God. Oh, Lord Jesus. This is Joel Osteen, Become a Better You. So, for those of you who might be new or haven't seen me do this, sometimes I divine. Instead of using a card, I'll do a devotional. I feel like that was so on point with exactly what we are saying. This season, if people do not align with the greatness, the things that bring you gratification, that are good for your life, give them back to God. Hold up. Do not be addicted trying to fix people to fit into your life. Do not be addicted to trying to hold on to anybody who's not aligning with the life you are building. Sometimes we try the most to do good by people that are just not aligning in the season that we are going into next. And you have to just give them back to God. You don't have to be nasty. You just have to say, look, where I'm going, I just don't see you a part of that picture for right now. It's no ill, right? When someone decides to give up the cigarette, right? That's cool. That's fine. We're not saying that no one else can, but me, I'm not doing that no more. Okay? And with the addictions, right, we were talking about before, don't let people peer pressure you this season into doing some shit you don't want to, into continuing on into something you don't want to be in, you don't want to do. This season, we are not allowing other people to peer pressure us into staying into things that are not alignment, not for us. We are simply going to let them go and give them back to God. You got to keep yourself happy this season. A lot of us, we're doing some big things this year. And sometimes, in order to do big things, there's going to be little things here and there that are going to have to be rearranged. They're going to have to be taken out. The energy is going to be you got to dust yourself off and say, you know what? I can't be constantly picking up on these things that ain't mine no more this season. A lot of people are going to say, this shit ain't mine this season. These people ain't mine no more. That type of lifestyle that they was living, that I used to be living, that shit ain't mine no more. What is yours this season? What is going to be yours next season? And whatever is not in alignment with what you want it to be, give it back to God. Okay? Just give it back. Let's pull. Beloved one, I am helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. In order to be loved in this life, truly, you have to be loved to yourself. Some of these relationships that you are arguing with yourself, that you're conflicted in, they aren't loving. They aren't allowing you to love your best self. They aren't allowing you to live a life that you love and that you want. And honey, if you won't be loved to yourself, and you're staying in these situations that are just constantly putting you into this cycle of self-hatred or just trying to people please, trying to whatever have you, You ain't gonna ascend to where you're supposed to ascend to, because, honey child, if you ain't gonna be a good mate to your own soul, and you keeping around people that ain't good for you, them mates, those mates, right? Because what are mates? I know we have the definition, right? Mate definition. Each a fellow member or joint occupant of a specific thing. You have to understand, of a specific thing. A lot of people this season, right? Because even it says come together for breeding. A lot of people ain't breeding the same shit you're breeding this season. They are not interested in these specific things. So don't be peer pressured into things that you're not interested in. A lot of y'all are telling yourself the same story this season. You know what? I'm just going to stay connected to this person and that person because somehow, I'm just going to force this connection, although it's not good for me and it's not supporting what I'm. Fuck that. Fuck that. To match. Some things this season just ain't a match no more. It ain't a match to add to you, to add unto you, to add to that sense of abundance, that 10 of cups. And that's okay. It's not personal. One thing about Aquarians that people really don't like about us is that sometimes it's just like, it ain't personal. We're so detached. It ain't personal. This season, some shit just ain't personal. You are your own person, and you get to decide this season what you're attaching yourself to, that you want to be attached to in seasons to come. The things that you want to build unto you, the things that you want of abundance. And if shit ain't matching up, subtract it out. Remove it. Be generous. Okay? When I see that be generous, and what we're going to do is after that, we're just going to close up with one more jewel. I don't want to be redundant. Sometimes, right, being generous, you see how this cup is being poured out? Sometimes you got to free people. Sometimes you got to give them back. Giving, being generous. Because this is the thing. Sometimes when we hold on to people and things, we're being greedy. I'm just going to hold on to this and I'm just going to hoard that. Just give people back and give things back. Because you don't need to let them go to waste. Because if you don't have a purpose for them, they can be a purpose to something else, to themselves, to somebody else, even if it's not you. I love this quote that says, if you see a woman on her shit, doing her thing, and you ain't ready to match up with her, to pair with her, leave her the fuck alone. A lot of y'all this season are going to want to be left the fuck alone. By your friends, by your family, by people who want to court you. Because if you ain't ready to match me, to be a part of what it is that I'm trying to have, that doesn't require me being someone that I'm not, and addicted to trying to people please, I'm just going to give you back. Partner, I ain't going to hold you. That's one thing you're going to say this season. You know what? I'm just giving people back. I ain't finna hold them. I finna hold you. This season, we only holding on to what is adding abundance to our cup, that's making us feel healthy, that's making us feel happy. We ain't finna hold nobody this season. Okay? Let's close with one more ritual. Plan for blessing. If you want to become a better you, it is important to put the right actions along with your faith. It's not enough to believe, as important as that may be. We have to take it one step further and start expecting. While we are expecting good things from God, we should be making plans. We need to talk as if we need to talk as if what we are praying about is going to happen. We should dare to step out in faith and act like it's going to happen. When a couple is expecting a baby, they make all sorts of preparations. Why? Because they know a child is on the way. The fact is, in the early stages of the pregnancy, they haven't seen the baby or touched it, yet they have faith in the doctor's report, so they start making preparations. God has put dreams in every one of our hearts. We all have things for which we are believing. Perhaps you are believing to overcome an illness, believing to get out of debt, or believing to accomplish your dreams. Here's the key. We have to go beyond believing. True faith puts action behind it. If you're sick, you need to start making plans to get well. If you're struggling in your finances, start making plans to prosper. If your marriage is on the rocks, start making plans to see that relationship is restored. Lay your faith on the line. Too often we say that we are believing God for good things, yet with our actions we're doing just the opposite. Understand that your faith will work in either direction, positively or negatively. I know some people who plan to get the flu. At the grocery store, I hear them predicting their future. Well, it's flu season. I had better pick up some of this flu medicine just in case. After all, it was bad last year. I got lucky and didn't get it, but I'll probably get it this year. They talk as if though sure it's going to happen. They take it even further and put some actions behind their negative faith by purchasing the flu medicine. Not surprisingly, a few weeks later, they come down with the flu. Their faith worked a bite negatively. They expected the flu, made plans for it, and they got it. Remember, your faith will work in either direction. So look at this. Even when we're talking about relationships and people, right? I've been a part of circles or whatever have you. And you know when you say, they're about to be some shit. You know they're about to be some shit. You predicted it, you put faith in it, you put action behind it, you still showed up and there was some shit. And you like, goddamn, because you planned and you prepared for the shit. Okay? This season, okay? If you trying to get out of debt, stop fucking with your friends that are spendthrifts that don't plan for shit. They ain't got no plans, they ain't got no dreams, they ain't got no hopes, they ain't got no motherfucking aspirations. Okay? If you trying to get married, stop fucking around with your friends who are thotting and bopping and living negatively when it comes to their love life. They ain't planning for union. If you planning for union, you got to prepare yourself and put yourself amongst people that are planning for the same things that you are planning for. Okay? You have to understand, a lot of us want to expect good things, right? We want this card. We're expecting them. But if we ain't planning for them and we're allowing people to peer pressure us to stay in things that are conflicting with them, you ain't being generous to yourself. That's why you got to let go, let God, give them back to God. Be generous. I ain't finna hold you. Because guess what? You holding on to a lot of things in your life that don't align with the lifestyle that you want, gonna hold you back, partner. So you can tell things that don't serve this next season that you're preparing for. You can tell them, I ain't finna hold you. Or you can sit there, be addicted to keeping that shit in your life and not clearing it out and let it hold you. So are you planning for a blessing or are you planning to stay burdened? Because the actions that you are partaking in now will anticipate the next season that you're about to come into. All right, y'all. Let's just close. Spirit, I ask on behalf of the collective that are watching this video now, that are planning and preparing for seasons of blessings to come, that they take action behind their faith, because it is not suffice just to sit and dream and try to expect. But we have to be efficient in our actions and making sure that we are being proactive and making sure we are only holding on to the things that will allow us to pull these blessings closer to us. May we allow ourselves and forgive ourselves if we have to be generous now this season in giving people back to God that no longer fulfill our purpose, that no longer fulfill parts of ourselves in our life, that we no longer want to be conflicted with, that we no longer want to be in an argument or disagreement with. This season we ask that we are given the clarity and the discernment to release all codependency, all forms of addiction, all forms of peer pressure, of things that we might be holding on to, not because they are good to us, but we are too afraid to let them go. In letting these things go, we ask that we can now have faith to have open hands and continue to move forward to the things that are going to allow our blessings to be put into our hands. May we trust ourselves to make the best decisions. May we not be torn between having to compromise to keep these things that are no good in order to fulfill a void that is within us. May we free these voids. Right now, we ask any root chakra, sacral chakra blockages that we might have that are allowing us to maintain these cycles of addiction. We ask that the cords be released. May they be dissolved. May we have security to trust ourselves that we are making the right decisions and moving forward. It is not enough that we are expecting blessings, but we have to now plan and prepare. Allow us to put everything into place this season that we may reap next season. Ashe. I was a little worried at first. I was kind of like, where is this going? And then it came. Sometimes it be like that. I hope this brings you some peace of mind. This moon's really, really about using our intellect to really see where we're trying to go and really be okay with not holding on to the things, that detachment, okay? Detachment. Aquarius and detachment. Do not be so attached to something simply because you are lacking the self-love to have the faith that where you're going is better than where you're leaving. That the things that you are leaving in this season, honey, so much better is coming. Okay? I love y'all lots. Go ahead, follow me on Instagram if you're not, thetrapwitch. If you have any inquiries about a reading or about, like I said, counsel, advice, any of those things that you would like my advice on, help with, thetrapwitch@gmail.com. You are appreciated, you are loved, and I hope that this has helped you make some decisions that you might need to in the next week, okay? All right, y'all. Until next time, take care.